Okay, one more time. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. More about the your course itself. Before that, if you guys are familiar with the InfoSec train, I hope most of you will be. So you will be familiar that we are one of the finest security and technology training and consulting company, which is providing a wide range of professional training programs, certification, consulting services in the IT and cybersecurity domain itself. Now we will be going here and we'll be discussing a lot of the different of your uh, topics on the Azure security itself. Now, first of all, we will be going ahead and we'll be discussing today's agenda, that what we are going to go ahead and discuss on to the today's agenda itself. So in today's agenda, we'll be starting with the introduction to the identity and access management in the Azure part over here. And remember, knowingly I am writing something like Azure Active Directory, and the people who are continuously scrolling through your particular Microsoft portal, they will be familiar that rather than this name, nowadays Microsoft, they prefer another name, which is Microsoft Entra ID. So which is a renaming which happened very recently. So we'll be going ahead with this one, where we'll be going ahead with the identity and access management in Azure, which where we will be just discussing about things like the your Azure Active Directory, how the users, the groups, the rules, that all these things they are working. Then we'll be talking about the multi-factor authentication basics, and then we'll be talking about the bit of the RBAC. RBAC, people who are working on the security domain, they will be pretty much familiar with the role-based access control in Azure. So that will be the one thing. And then we'll be talking about understanding the RBAC in Azure. What are some best practices, official suggestion from the Microsoft? What is those? What are those? So we'll be talking about them itself. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and now we'll be starting with the one of the very basic thing, that is the identity and access management. And I am again 100% sure the people who are familiar with the idea regarding the your idea of security or have worked with the security a bit as well, you will be familiar with the concept of your identity and access management, that what is going to be the IAM. So first of all, a simple example, I would say that when you guys go to the any organization, okay, very first thing that you will do is, that organization you are selected, okay. So let's say that you are moving to the KPMG, Deloitte, or anywhere. So what is the very first thing they will be doing is they are going to go ahead and they are going to create a new account for you, okay. They will give you a username, they will give you a password over here, and then with that username and password you will go ahead start accessing their resources, their files, their management. First thing that you will do in the organization, go there, log in into your account, start using the web servers, code, write up all these things. To maintain all these things you will be requiring a new identity, okay. This is going to be over there. Now when you are doing so those kind of a things over here, so that is the very first one of the fundamental jobs. So, I also remember when many of the people they start in the security domain, they start with the something like your IAM administrator itself. So when you are using or starting with that, the job will be the go ahead, okay, create a account for the new user, newcomer, and then give them the access to the resources of the organization over there. So this is going to be your one other thing. Now we'll be starting with the IAM, but before that, one simple question that I would like to start before we start, this is the security concept. Now I will add this concept to the your Microsoft Azure cloud. Now everyone is here and everyone is eager to learn. And yes, I can read the Gautam's message that actually he is on vacation and he here is for the refresher. So I am not minding that. It's good to have someone who already has completed all these certificates. So here now I am going to add it to the clouds concept. Now, okay, so even if I will be defining it, how I always define a cloud, I always define a cloud with the definition that it is on demand, your on demand IT service. Okay, so this is a single one liner that I always use in all my sessions, that this is going to be your on demand cloud service. So when we are saying on demand cloud service, what it means? It means that it could be any IT service. So nowadays you must be seeing that all kind of your IT services. Okay, if you want to create a virtual machine, have a compute power, you can have that. Okay, if you want a storage, you can have that. Everyone, I think most of you will be paying for Google Drive. You are paying for the your I would say iCloud, right? So that is the storage part. So either you are wanting a storage service, you want a compute service, you not only that, if you want AI, machine learning services, you want IoT services, you want your DevOps services, you want your big data services, database services, network, security services even. They are all nowadays are going to be, in some way present in the form of your cloud. Even the today's topic, which is going to be the your identity and access management, that is also known as something like identity as a service. Okay, so I think basic of the services like infrastructure services, platform as a services, software as a services, three things. One thing for the guys who are completely new onto the cloud, try to read about these three terms, guys. Okay, this will surely help you. Infrastructure as a service, then there is going to be something like the platform as a service, and then software as a service. These three terms of the cloud will help you to understand nature of cloud. That is, in simple term, infrastructure is when I'm going and I'm demanding compute services, like I want three virtual CPU core, three virtual CPU cores, I want 32 gigs of RAM, I want 1 terabyte of the hard disk, 128 gigs of your OS disk. Like these kind of demands when you are making, this is going to be the infrastructure service. Cloud service provider is providing you that infrastructure. Now maintaining that is going to be your particular cloud service provider's responsibility. Like if I am demanding it from the AWS will provide me that infrastructure. I will say that I want a Ubuntu server 22, right, 0.04. They will provide me that. Now it is my responsibility that how I want to use that particular virtual machine, how I want to, which application I want to install, to maintain it, to update it. That is my responsibility, and it will become your infrastructure as a service. Then there is going to be something like platform as a service. If I am a developer, why I will be going through all this pain of maintaining a server, installing application, making the runtime, then go with my app. So I'm saying that I am just a developer. I simply want that someone do these tasks for me. I simply write my code, publish my code, and make few simple settings like I want the operating system of any Windows, or I want this networking setting that these IP should be blocked or allowed, or auto scaling. So I simply can focus now on my code and start using the platform underlying platform operating system updates that will manage by cloud service provider like AWS or Azure. That will be a PaaS service. And SaaS is, I think, one of the simplest thing which you guys are using, which is your Microsoft 365 service, G Suite service, even your simple calendar app, Google Drive app, your Dropbox, your simple iCloud. All these are what software as a service. I'm not writing the code as well. Simply someone has write this code. They are just giving the access. I'm just paying for that service and you start using these services. These are simple your software as a service, right? I'm just simply saying give me subscription and I will start using it. So for the guys who are just new to the cloud, try to read about these three terms. It will help you to understand. Now why I ask this thing is why I say that it is on demand IT service. I always compare this with my personal experience. What happened is I almost in every cloud classes, every seminar, I give this a story that I belong to a very small town, right? So my when I was growing up, I was in a very small town where I used to have only one movie, one channel. And in our India, we call it the DD1, DD National. And if you have to watch the movies, there are few limited times, right? And even our city does not have any movie halls or anything. Okay, so what used to happen is that we use generally, but first time when I visited a big city to visit my aunts, and they simply asked me that what you want to go ahead and which movie you want to see. I was very excited and I simply said that I want to see a Salman Khan's movie, right? And they call simply the cable operator, and he just put that particular movie and it played throughout the day, right? So that was my first exposure to something which was the on demand. Okay, now that particular uh, scope, if I remember, after that in India there was the revolution in the TV industry, and there was all DTH services. Now even those used to provide you the on demand services, you were paying around something like 29 Indian rupees, and that movie will be played for you for 48 hour or something like that, right? That was again on demand movie services. Now that scope has been totally gone ahead, and something which we used to say now is OTT platform, right? So what we are using nowadays are your OTT platforms. Now if I will be talking about the OTT platforms, in OTT platform, let's just take the example of the Netflix. And I'm going on with the Netflix, and what is happening, that with the Netflix, simply, very first thing, let's say that I'm the user who first time visiting this Netflix. So what I need to do, sign up, right? Then next thing, what I need to do after I do the sign up, what I will be doing, I will be choosing for something like what? Okay, I have selected the sign up. Okay, I completed the form. I put my credit card, verify my account. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to choose what? Subscription now, right? Now I will be choosing subscription, that I want 5 users, and 4K, and you can watch, 4 people can watch simultaneously the different is on the different screen. I want that kind of one, or I want only the mobile subscription. I want one screen subscription, two screen, full HD subscription. That is just depending on me, right? So different options are available. I will use that. Once I start using it, what is going to happen? I can select the collection from your movies and series that is available in my region. Okay, if I'm in US, there is a different section. If I am in the India, I have the different sections of the movies. I'm in the your different countries, I'm in UK, there's different selections are over there. So I'm going to have all these things all around, right? Now if I will compare it with the cloud, if I'm going for the very specific example, Azure. So what you're going to see in the Azure as well, I will do something like the sign up. Then I will be also saying, because if I'm signing up and I'm saying cloud is what? Your on demand IT service. So same, what is going to happen? I need to choose my subscription over there, that I'm gonna go ahead, I'll do the subscription. Subscription will be what? If I'm creating virtual machine, web application, I'm creating your AI service or anything, I need to pay for that. Azure is no, Microsoft is not doing charity over here. Okay, they are not doing any charity. So what they are simply going to do, they are simply gonna go ahead and simply going to put something like your okay, that you are using this my service, you are using my compute, I am just paying for electricity bill and everything, so you have to pay me something. So with that, where it will be charged, if you create a virtual machine, it will be charged against your subscription. If you create anything else, that is going to be charged against that particular subscription itself, and that's why we'll be having the subscription. Once I have a valid subscription, I can go ahead and simply have, I can utilize any of the IT resource I want. I want to go ahead and create VM, web applications, containers, Kubernetes. I want to create a storage account, blob services, file share services. I can do any kind of the things with those kind of scenarios over here. So it is going to be the one of the part that is going to be part of your Azure here. Now what I have done, if I will take you to the portal of Azure, this is how it looks like. Okay, now this is the Microsoft Azure on top, and if I will show you something, there is this option subscription. So this is completely new subscription that I am having. If I will go in here, you will see that this is the Azure Pass sponsorship that is written over there. Okay, it will be giving me $100 for a month. So if I will create any resource, if I will go, and you will see one more thing, or one more characteristic of the cloud is it is on demand self-service. So if I am demanding something, and it is going to give me a catalog of services from where I can choose that which kind of service I want. So here on the left hand side, if you will see analytics, blockchain, computer, container, identity integration, different categories are there. So I can go ahead and choose. So for example, if I want to use something like SQL database, I want to create it. it will be simply asking me that, okay, against which subscription I should charge you. Here, if you will see, it is giving me the option of subscription over here that, okay, you want to create it? Fine, go ahead, create it. But against which subscription should I charge you? So that's why it is kind of the important thing to have a subscription. And this is what we were talking about as well, that this is going to be your something where you'll be talking about the your subscription. And this is just an idea into the cloud and Azure over there. Now, this is for all those people who are completely new to the your cloud and want to understand the bit of the your Azure, how it looks like. Now we will going back and focusing on our today's agenda, which is going to start with the management in Azure, identity and access management in Azure. And with this one, we'll be going ahead and talking about a bit onto the your Azure Active Directory or Microsoft Entra ID. Now, the people who are working with the Microsoft for a very long time, like me, still I haven't made it quite the habit to call it the your Entra ID. Okay, so recently, few months ago, Microsoft changed the name, although they have given the fair amount of warning like a year ago that all the identity related services and portal they are going to change and they are going to make it handle from the one single place only, and that is going to be the Microsoft Entra ID Center. Now they have finally implemented it, and now if you will see the Active Directory, and even to be honest, because guys, I am working for a long time with the Microsoft Azure, I have this habit to call it the Microsoft Azure Active Directory, AAD, all the time. Now the latest for all those people who will be first time visiting it. So if you are familiar with your Azure Active Directory, on the top left, if you will see, there is going to be that same icon is same, that Azure Active Directory AAD is now gone, and it is just simply written like your Microsoft Entra ID, and that's it. Okay, so you can click on this, and now you will be on to the in Azure portal from Azure, and this is one of the my particular primary domain. So here you will be on to your Microsoft Entra ID itself. So here, this is going to be my particular primary domain. So for the demo purpose, I have created this over here, and this is one of the my demo accounts that I will be using to show you all the things. So this is my default directory right now, and it is the Microsoft Entra ID. So the people who are familiar with the Microsoft Azure, so your Azure Active Directory is now your Microsoft Entra ID, which is a cloud-based identity. If I will go with the official definition of Entra ID over here, so you'll see Microsoft Entra ID is a cloud-based identity and access management service. This service will help to employ access external resources such as Microsoft 365, Azure Portal, and thousands of other software as a service application. So Microsoft Entra ID also help them to access internal resources like apps on your corporate intranet network along with any cloud app developer for your organization. And in simple word, for all the people who are not familiar with this one, we can simply understand that this Entra ID is going to be a database which is going to be keeping the collection of your users, their identity, the permission that you will be giving to them, features that they will be having, which resource they can access, and all of these kind of things all together. So if you will see here, let me just pick the pen over here. So you will see here that this is my Microsoft Azure Active Directory. Even right now, you will go onto the website because this change is still taking place. So on the multiple places, instead of Entra ID, you will be only seeing Azure Active Directory editor. So it is going to be your still the same old Active Directory, which is going to be the collection of the identity of the user and the people who are using Office 365 as well. They will be familiar. Either you are using Azure, you are using Office 365, some other SaaS options as well. All of you, where your identities are being created into the Azure Active Directory, which is now your Entra ID over here. So how to create user and all, we'll be seeing all these things practically over in the today's session. So here it is going to be your Entra ID, which is collection of your identity. Not only that, you will enable security features in there, lot of other features that are going to be the part. We are going to access all of them over here itself. Now very first thing, because this is just a quick boot camp, what we are going to do, first thing that we'll be seeing today is how to create a user into this. For example, our employee A just joined this organization. Now we want to create an identity for that user. So how it is going to work? So we'll be talking about the Azure AD user over there. So here in my Azure Active Directory, what I can do, I can add a user, I can delete a user, I can give the permission to the specific user as well. Now, just right now, read this line. To add or delete user, you must be either user administrator or global administrator. So this is going to be the sum of the roles that are in the Azure Active Directory. Now, one question some of you might be thinking that how we can go ahead and create a particular Azure account. Now, many of you will be familiar that what you do, you get is Azure free account. So in Azure and GCP, you can go ahead and get something like a free account. Now, with this free account, what is going to happen is if you can go ahead and you can create your free account over here. And with that free trial, okay, let me open it in the new tab as well. Not the activate here. So if you are the user who is accessing this for the free first time, for 30 day, you will get $200 and you can click on this start free. If I usually suggest my candidate to create a new account with a credit card which they haven't used with the Microsoft in the past. And if preferred, I will prefer always a new account already over there. Yeah, it is just telling me that you already have an account. I know that. I was just showing you that this is one place. So you will get $200 for 1 month, and you can play around and test it out that multiple of the features over there. Even some services with the free account will be free for 1 year, like 750 hour of your Azure virtual machine Linux, okay, Azure virtual machine for Windows. And if you are seeing these particular, I would say, tiers of machine, you will see that you're only going to get around 1 gigs of RAM and very smaller communication. But if you want to test out all the features, you can utilize it. But to be honest, create this account only at that time when you are seriously thinking of doing the hands-on and the practice. Okay, do not do something like, okay, we were sitting for 4 hour session with the Rishabh and we created it, and later when you are just preparing or practicing for the Azure security engineer exam, you don't have any credit card left or any account left to go ahead and utilize this free account. So when you are preparing for the exam, I would suggest then utilize it, the free account at that particular time. Now apart from that, you will be every time going on to the something which will be your portal.azure.com for accessing the cloud. One easy simple GUI based resource is going to be this. There are other methodology as well, like your command line interface, you can go with that, PowerShell as well. So there are the other methodologies as well, but right now we are talking about the your GUI based access which we are going to have. Now, in this account, this is a completely new account that I created for you guys to show you the demo. So I will go on the top left, get all my menu over here. From there, I'm going to select something like the Microsoft Entra ID service, which is Microsoft Azure Active Directory AAD. Now on the left hand side, you will see there is going to be the option of user. Now, when I will be registering for this account, by default, my this name that you are seeing, Monkey Luffy. Okay, so as you can see, some of you might be the fan of One Piece, so you'll be seeing that your Monkey Luffy is going to be your admin account over there. Okay, so here you are going to have this admin account. Now this is the user who registered for this Azure service. Now, let's say that, in my organization, someone joined us today. Okay, now I'm seeing the name of Rajiv over here. So let's say that Rajiv joined us today, and I want to create an account for the Rajiv. Now, what I can do, I can simply click on this new user, create a new user. Here, user principal name. So that is Rajiv. So I will be adding Rajiv over here. Now, display name only Rajiv I want to put. Now, this will be the password. So what I can do, I can copy the username and then the password as well. And I will keep it on the paint so that everyone can see this one. This is going to be the Rajiv's username. Now what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to copy the password as well from here. You can see this is auto generated password. If I will uncheck this box, so I can create a password over here, but this will be a temporary password. Always remember this. So when you will be logging in for the very first time, you need to change this password. So this is going to be the, account Rajiv. I will copy this password as well and I will keep it safe somewhere. Okay. So that I can utilize it later on as well. Now, what I am going to do, this is the one thing. Now, I have copied the username and password. I have paused my screen in between so that you can see the password right now. Next, the properties. If you want to add first name, last name, user type, job title, which company, which department, what is the employee ID, type, hire date, location, who is the manager. If you want to define, let's say that if I want to say that like only I have one user now, which is the main admin user, that is the monkey D. Luffy. So you can select that user and you can just utilize that as well. But I'm not doing anything right now. I'm leaving all these contact information, everything empty over here, and going on to the next assignment over here. Now, after this, if I have already created some groups and all, we will talk about them later on. Okay, after the user, we'll be talking about group over here. So this is going to be this one of the simple thing. No groups are created yet, so I'm just going to leave it empty right now. Going to review and create a user over here. So in my Azure Active Directory, I successfully created one user. I will give this around 30 seconds or so. Why? Because if I will instantly try to refresh it, it will show me no other users over there. Okay, so we will be just waiting for this to get complete, and then we will be starting. Okay, I have given I think around 30 seconds. I will refresh. Now I can see in my Azure Active Directory there is one more user who is your Rajiv. Okay, now Rajiv is here and this is the Rajiv's account. Now one thing that I can do is I can go on to the some other browser. Okay, I have a few different browser and hopefully I can find a you know browser where I'm not logging into the different account, because there was my MCT account running in one of the I think I minimized the wrong browser, because in one of the browser I was having my MCT account running as well. Okay, right. That's fine. Okay, again I'm going to mute everyone. So what I'm going to do on the other browser, I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to log in into the your Azure account. Okay, so what we were using the Rajiv's account. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy the Rajiv's username over here, and I'm going to paste it onto the your other browser. Now I am gonna go ahead and copy the password as well for the Rajiv. Now what is happening actually is, as I was telling you, that this is going to be a temporary password. So as soon as I will click on sign in, it will be asking me to go ahead and update the password of your Rajiv. So what I will do, I will be trying to change the password so that we can just simply log in into the your Rajiv's account. Now paste it over here, paste it over here, and do the sign in. So when the very first time you will be signing in from the your account, you need to go ahead and simply update the password. So this is what we are doing over here, and we have updated the password, and this one is going to be the account for the Rajiv. If you will see from the drop down box, this is the account for the Rajiv itself. Okay, so this is the very first thing, that how you will create a user. Now, for all those people who have noticed one thing, that there is going to be the Rajiv's name is extended by something which is going to be your, okay, here. If you will notice, it is extended by something like .onmicrosoft.com. So when in Azure, you will be finding this kind of a thing, which is saying .onmicrosoft.com. So what it simply means, it simply means it is a default directory. So if I will go on to my main admin account right now, okay, which is this one. So you will see that when I'm trying to create a new user over here, I'm usually getting the option of this domain. Instead of this, if someone wants to go ahead and have a custom domain, that option is also given into your Azure Active Directory. On the left hand side, simply you will be seeing that there is going to be the option of custom domain names. Like for example, I am working in the infosec train infosec train, and I want Rajiv name to go with this something like Rajiv at the rate infosectrain.com. So I can extend it via the save. Okay, and this is going to be the your simply next time when I will create a user, it will be extended by Rajiv at the rate infosectrain.com. So that option is also available over here. Next thing. So we have created a user. So in user, we have the Rajiv's account, which we have created into this particular part. Now, I will show you one more thing. Similar to the user, you guys will be familiar. Okay, if I start creating in my organization, there are, let's say, 50 people. And for 50 people, I created the account. Now, these 50 people, why we use AD again? Based on your job rules, I will be giving you the access to of different things. For example, I am having one web application, one SQL server, one your virtual machine, one web application. So different resources I am having. Now, let's say that 5 people I want to give access to the virtual machine. Now, another 5 people I want, 10 people I want to give access to the storage account. Another 10 people I want to give access to the web application. So what is happening? If I want to give them the permission, that not simple thing. When you go into the any organization, based on your roles, you have assigned a cabin, a desk, and everything, right? You can't just simply go onto the your office on the very first day of job unless you have given the post of CEO. Okay, let's say that you are just joined as the your user administrator in the organization. So what you will do, you can't just simply go and on the very first day go and sit in the cabin of your CEO in the CEO's chair and then say that I am the CEO and start making rules. No, that is what, that is a game of your permission. You have not been given any permission to go and act as a CEO, change the policy, work with that, though that particular power. So that is the authorization part. So same thing is happening with the users as well. We have created those identity, and now through those identity, we will give the permission. Out of those 5 users, 2 user can go ahead and change the state of virtual machine. One user can go ahead and only see that virtual machine is running or not. If there is any problem, it cannot change any of the thing. So based on your job roles, you will be given some permission, right? So for one simple example is, if I am having 50 people and I have to give people the permission. So if 10 people are working on a web application, now instead of going to the each individual people, if I will say that you have to go to the each people, give the permission over there, so what is going to happen? It is going to add an overhead to the task of my administrator. Now, administrator will be tired that every time I have to go select a user, give the permission. Instead of that, what we have the second feature over here, which is called your Azure AD, your groups. So if we will go with that, okay, Azure AD groups. So when we talk about the Azure Active Directory, it provides several ways to manage the access to your resources, to your application, and to your task. Okay, like I was telling you, 10 people has the different roles. So based on that, 10 people can access, need to work with the web application, 10 people with the container, 5 people with the virtual machine. So like that. Now, with the Azure AD groups, you can grant access and permission to a group of user instead of the each individual user. Now, you can limit the access to the Azure AD resource only to those users who need to access is one of the core security principle of zero trust. So like I was saying that Gotham has done already the SC, SC series as well. One term that is used there is going to be the zero trust. So what is zero trust? Zero trust simply says do not trust anyone and verify everything. So if someone wants to access your web application storage account, first ask that are they eligible to access my resource or not. So groups also going to help you to maintain that instead of individually giving everyone the permission, we can assign the whole permission to the group itself. That go ahead and assign it to the group. Now how to create a group, we will see that. So for seeing that particular kind of a thing, what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and on this one. Uh, okay, I think I am on the Rajiv's account right now. Okay, so on the Rajiv's account, okay, let me minimize this Rajiv's account, else it will keep creating a confusion for me right now. Let me go to my admin account. Okay, in my admin account, I will go on to the something like your groups now. Now, okay, for adding, I don't have many people in the user directory over there. So what I can do, let's just create 2, 3 more users as well. So let me create a new user. Uh, okay, so I'm just choosing it from the your chat box. So there was Gautam's message last. So I'm going to select the Gautam. Okay, so Gautam, 𝐀𝐠𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 create and create the user. Now, next thing, there is going to be the new user again, and this time I will be creating your Nivedita is also there. So for the Nivedita as well, I'm going to create this one. So Nivedita, one more user we are creating. Okay, next assignment, next, and simply one more user we have created. Okay, and if I will refresh it, you will see only the Gautam's account right now. Okay, in few seconds there will be the account of the Nivedita as well. uh 4 people already, so means I am having around 3 peoples right now. Okay, now in this one, what we are going to do, 3 people around we are having. Now you will see there is the option of groups. So what I can do, I can go ahead and create a simply a group of a security type of a group we are going to create. Now I'm going to give this group a name of the web app users. Okay, or if you want, you can create something like a VM user group, people who should have the access onto the web app. Now you can give the description of group like I was telling you. Now, if you will see a feature here which is saying membership type, it is blocked. It is not being, we are not being able to access it. And there is a reason behind it, which is the model of Microsoft, why it is happening. I will discuss about that as well. So here you will see that I only have one option of creating the assigned group, right? Now for this group, I'm going to select a particular owner. I would say Monkey Luffy, who is our global administrator, kind of a root user. That is going to be the owner. Then there is going to be the member, and who will be the member. So here you can see a lot of applications will be coming and everything. So I will keep everything out. I will talk about them. I will go to the simply the user, and let's say that I want to make Rajiv and Gautam the member of this group and select these 2 people. So I have created a group of web app user who will be having 2 members and one owner who is the owner of group, and just simply going to create a group. So next time if I have to give the permission to anyone, it is going to be your simply the give the permission to the group instead of individual user. Now, one good thing about the Microsoft portal is, if you have to learn more about the Active Directory, and here it is saying Azure Active Directory is now Microsoft Entra ID. If I will click on this learn more option, it will be taking you to the particular article which will be explaining that new name for Azure Active Directory, which is explaining that Microsoft has renamed AAD Azure Active Directory to the Microsoft Entra ID for the following reason. to communicate the multi-cloud, multi-platform functionality to the product, to elevate the confusion or with Windows Server Active Directory, and to unify the Microsoft Entra product family. So what changes is causing, feature name, what is not changing, and everything, it will be described over here. So you can find it over there. Now, if you will be seeing that dynamic group membership have not been updated due to system delay, we are working to resolve the issue. So look like there is some issues going on, and I can tell you that what that issue is. So if I will refresh this page, you will see one user, which is the web app user group. If I want to create another group, there is one more thing. This membership type is assigned, and there is going to be another type, which is dynamic users and dynamic group. Now, if I want to use that, what it will do, if you have the permission of using it, you can create a query. For example, query based on my department. Okay, all the people who is working on the department of protection, they will be going ahead and they will be simply they will be going ahead and they will be simply going to allocate to a group called your IT admin group, right? So like that we can create a particular kind of your I would say a query. And then what is happening in the web app user, when I was using the assigned group, as an administrator, I have to go and pick each user manually. So let's say that Nivedita join us, right? So Nivedita also need the access of the web app user. So I will go to my group. I will go to the members over here, and I will be going ahead and adding the member over there and select then the Nivedita, that okay, I want to make the Nivedita the part of this group and select this one. And this is going to be the one thing that manually it is an extra overhead over here for my user, that you want to go ahead and access the your resource like this. So this is going to be the one more challenge which we don't want to face, and that's why there was the option of dynamic. But another very interesting thing with the Microsoft Azure is not all the features will be available to you with the you know free. For free, we can say, in simple term, in layman term, for free I am saying. Now why? Because for the Microsoft like Azure AD, if you're familiar, there used to be license. Now again, there is going to be the licenses for the Entra ID. So usually the tier used to be your free P1, P2. In 365, you might have seen something like the E5 licenses, right? So and the F series as well. So you might have seen those as well. Apart from that, they have now introduced more feature, which is the identity governance license as well. So more and more features will be enabled over there. So if you will ask or read about the very official document of the Entra ID license, it would say that Microsoft Online Business Service such as Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Azure, it requires the Microsoft Entra ID for sign-in activities and to help the with the identity protection. If you subscribe to the Microsoft Online Business Service, you automatically get Entra ID with access to all the free features. To enhance your Microsoft Entra implementation, you can use a paid capability by upgrading to the P1 or P2 license as well. Now, I will show you a very simple, configuration, because in today's agenda, what we have one more features of the your multi-factor authentication. Okay. So right now, if I will scroll down on the main Microsoft Entra ID default directory page, on the left hand side, if you will go down, and you go on to the something like security features. So these features that you are seeing, like identity protection, conditional access, these are not available with the free tiers of your Entra ID. If you want to use them, you need to upgrade to yourself either to premium P1 license or P2 license. Okay, and now they have the identity governance license as well for identity governance features itself. I will show you one simple thing, because today we are going to talk about the MFA. So you can go to the MFA option over here, and in the MFA option, what you are going to see that if I want to configure, what it is saying, get yourself a free premium trial over here. Okay, means without the your P1, P2 license, I can't even have the multi-factor authentication running for myself. So when we are talking about this whole scenario over here, so P1 or Entra ID licenses are kind of required for the day itself. Now, okay. if I will go on to the slide after the Entra ID license, I have added the say AD groups screenshot over here, that how to create a group itself. So if you want to see the MFA feature like this over here, that you want to go ahead with the MFA, you will be going ahead and working with that, and you want to see the this kind of a page where you are doing the multi-factor authentication setting. For that, it is saying that okay, go ahead and have something like your premium P1 or P2 licenses over there. Now, this is the one thing. Now, if I will take you to the page of the Entra plans and everything, so here are going to be your some of the plans over here. So we have the free tier, we have the Entra ID P1, which is costing us $6 per user per month. We have the Microsoft Entra ID P2 license, which is costing us $9 per user per month. And then there is something like the identity governance, which is Microsoft Entra ID governance feature, which is costing us $7 per user per month. Now, if you want to go ahead and get a good look by yourself onto the Microsoft Entra plans and pricing, what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop over the time. CIA tried was good, like they were providing us the basic security, but with the emergence of a cloud, what I personally feels that the your identity is also becoming a very important pillars of security. Now, a very simple example, multiple time, if I will take the example of medium.com, you want to go ahead, access the medium.com, it will be asking you that if you want to read, do you want to log in from your Google account, Facebook account, your Twitter account, right? So what is happening, you will be going ahead and giving those identity to go ahead and access this thing. So simply an identity is becoming very important. When you go there, it will ask that can medium access your this particular data. Now, when we are talking about this whole scenario in the organization as well, there is going to be different services. There is going to be an application server, a network, different subnets and everything. So zero trust is not related to only the cloud, but in general as well, in the network as well, that we implement zero trust methodology. Means if what we call the lateral movement, if you want to jump from one server to another, if I'm working on my system, suddenly I want to access one another application server. So when I want to access it, it would say explicitly trust no one, even that user who is requesting you right now, trust no one. Ask that user to verify its identity. Maybe you have implemented multi-factor authentication, that before using this application server, go ahead and prove your identity again with the MFA. So you will be going there, proving your identity, and then you will be giving the access of the particular application server. So in simple layman term, that is going to be your zero trust, that trust no one, verify everyone. Okay. And you can access yourself that with the your different tiers, different features are getting enabled over here. For example, if you want to go ahead and use a feature which is called identity protection. So what this feature usually do, it is Microsoft's AI enabled feature, which will be creating a list that if there is any kind of attack is done on any identity, that is going to be your identity protection over there. So it is going to do that kind of thing. Microsoft will be monitoring your identity, and say that if someone try to do the brute force onto your user account, username, and using your username and password, or your username was leaked somewhere. So they will keep track and send you the report. What you want to do? Do you want to block this user, allow this user, change its password? So that feature is only enabled with your premium P2 license, not with the any other thing, right? Similarly, if you will drop down, you will be finding more and more features that is going to be over there, that is going to be enabled. Like conditional access feature is only enabled with your P1 and P2, right? So mostly you will be seeing this kind of thing is actually happening over there with your licenses. So you can go ahead, purchase these licenses, from the Microsoft, and then you can assign them to the user. Now, Microsoft has done one thing. They are going to give you this for the 30-day free trial over here. So how to do it? On the left hand side, you will go on the Microsoft Entra ID. There is going to be this option license, and on this particular part, you will be going ahead and you are going to get a free trial over here. Now in here, I'm going to go ahead and enable this Entra ID P2 and click on activate. Now, once it is activated, I will just wait. Successfully done. Now, once it is successfully activated, I will go again directly. I can go to the all products over here and I can see Entra ID P2 is there and I can assign it to the 100 users. Okay, first of all, I want to go ahead and assign it to myself, my admin user, who will be your monkey D Luffy over there. So I'm going to select it, select this user, go to assignment, on, everything is on, go to the next review and create, and simply going to assign this user over here. So we are doing what? We are just assigning this user to my main root user or global admin user over there. So once this will be activated, so it might take few seconds to few minutes, and once it will be assigned, you can see it is assigned to the user, my user. So later on, I still my lessons is saying something like enter ID free. Once it will be activated, you will see that we can enable the multi-factor authentication as well. And even that dynamic group option that was hidden, that is also going to get enabled for us over this point. So while these features are getting enabled for us, let's just go ahead and talk about the more into the your Azure AD MFA over here. If we will talk about the multi-factor authentication, I think everyone is familiar that over the time your simple username and passwords, your username, your password, they are not enough to protect your identity. So what we required your multiple other method to verify the particular user. Now, if we will talk about this thing, so it can be multi-factor authentication, could be a two-step verification that is going to be over there, right? Okay, so two-step, it could be three-step as well. If in multi-factor authentication, simple example, we go there, we got a portal where I'm entering the username and password, and you guys can acknowledge anyone who is having the same thing. Let's say that you are going onto your organization. Okay, you connect to the Wi-Fi, you enter a username and a password, it got connected. Then there is a captive portal which is asking you for your phone number. You enter a phone number and then you got the OTP. You enter that OTP and then you are given the access of the internet. If you have enabled the multi-factor authentication, uh, Android phone, okay, different ways of doing it. So if you remember, if you have enabled the multi-factor authentication in the your Gmail or in your Android phones so as well. So what is happening? You have connected your Gmail account with your Android phones. Let's say that you are trying to log in into the Gmail account. What is going to happen? It will send a number, it will pop up a number over there which will be on your screen. You will select that number, and what is going to happen? In your phone you will be also selecting the same number. So one is username, you enter your username, then you are doing something like this, or getting an OTP, then enter it. What it is called? It is called two-factor authentication. That two one username password, second and OTP that you are getting, you are using that to verify your account. So that is two-factor authentication. So when I'm saying multi-factor authentication or MFA, that means more than one way of verifying yourself. So you enter a username, password, then you enter an OTP. Second thing could be that from the biometrics you are verifying yourself to your authenticator app. Third thing, you are adding the, giving the OTP that is generated by the authenticator app to your particular login portal. So this could be multiple, multi-factor authentication over there. So the security of the MFA two-step verification lies in its layered approach that after username password, different method you can use. Now, some terminologies that is used with the authentication, that is something you know, something you have, something you are. I only mentioned three things over there, but we have more than these things, right? So if someone from the security background, they will be familiar with that. Like for example, something you know. Okay, now it is written on the PPT as well. Okay, it is written on the PPT, something you know. What you know your username and password. Second thing, something you have. So what you have? You usually have a phone number, for example, where you will enter your number, you got an OTP. So you have a phone. So a trusted device which is not easily duplicated, a phone. You can use Authenticator app in your phone as well. Then something you are, which is biometric. Okay. Now, apart from that, if you have heard another things as well, like for example, somewhere you are, somewhere you are not, means based on your geographic location as well. We can, you know, go ahead and, allow you the communication or block your communication as well. Now, apart from that, there is something which we call something you do. Okay, so when we talk about this, we are talking about the gate analysis over there. So when we are talking about the gate analysis, you might have seen in some movies, some serials, okay, gate analysis, that how you walk, right? So this is something that is, your when we are talking about the gate analysis, gate is how, you walk, particular thing is going to be there. Something you do, you can associate it with the picture password as well, where if you have, uh, you know, I always give this example. Let's say that you have a picture of parrot on your screen and you're tapping on its nose first, its beak first, then onto its eyes, then to its toes, then to its, tail. So something you do that only you know. Okay, so that is the kind of the thing that is going to be in there. So in Azure, you'll be usually seeing the option of push notifications. You'll be seeing the option of the OTPs on the phone numbers, the emails. You can utilize these factors over there. And like right now, we have seen there was no option for me to go ahead and enable this multi-factor authentication. So what you will be doing, once I will have that license, I can go ahead and I can enable the MFA. So I can go ahead, select for which user out of the whole list, for which user I want to go ahead and I want to enable my particular service. I can do that. Second, that is going to be the, for there will be the state of the user. Three states are going to be over there: disable, enable, and enforce. Disable is you have not enabled any of the MFA for any of the user. Enable will be you have enabled the MFA for the user, but he does not choose. Till now he haven't chosen anything, that how it will be verifying itself via SMS or a push notification, how it want to do it. So that is going to be the your enabled state, that you have enrolled that user, that yes, you have to do the multi-factor authentication. And enforce will be that user have selected that I will be using particular authenticator app on my phone to verify myself. So that will be the, once he will be setting that up, then it become info. So three states are going to be in there, and we will see this practically. Then there is, on the very first time sign in after MFA has been enabled, user are prompt to configure their MFA setting, which we'll be seeing. And MFA is include free of charge for the global administrator security over here. That is going to be over there. So we are going to have this particular enabling MFA as well. So by now, I'm pretty much hoping that my premium P2 license is assigned to my user. So once it is assigned, what we are going to do here is, this is my user. Now to this user, what I am going to have is here Microsoft Entra ID P2 license. Now I am having what? Okay, sorry guys, what I'm pronouncing it is Azure AD Premium P2. Why? Because earlier we used to call it that Azure AD Premium P1 license, P2 license, and this become kind of my habit, I think, which is very hard to change now, because it means many years since I'm calling it the same thing. Now the name is Microsoft Entra ID P2 license, which I have enabled over there. Now if you will see, all the options has been opened for me. Now that even in the group option, if I will go create a new group, so this membership type, you will see, is now changed. Dynamic user, dynamic device option is enabled for me. Same thing, the security setting, if I will go, I can go in here. There is going to be this multi-factor authentication setting. No more option of that enable free trial of the premium licenses. No, straightforward, I can go and I can configure it. So I'm going in here, clicking on it, and then I'm working with the multi-factor authentication over here. So this is going to be your MFA. Now, with this one, you will see under the user section once I will go, and you will be now able to relate that screenshot with this one. Here you can see, you can go ahead, you can select that how you are gonna go ahead and create the something like your, for the user, you want to go ahead and enable the account. Like for example, I was having that Rajiv's account, and you can go ahead and enable the multi-factor authentication for this specific user, which is successfully completed as well, right? Now Rajiv has to go ahead and select its option, that go ahead, and you will see it is only enabled when it will become enforced, when Rajiv will go select its option, that how he wants to go ahead and work with the your scenario itself. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and work around with this one, we'll be talking about this particular factor. Now this is where we are talking about only the a very specific part over here. Now when we are talking about this, where is, because I'm just searching, I think this is the Rajiv's account, and I'm just trying to remember where I have keep the password for the Rajiv. Okay, because if I will forgot it, it is going to be the bit of the issue. So I'm going to just sign out from here. Okay, I just do this sign out. Here I'm going to click on forgot. Great, I'm out from here. Now in this particular part, we will be just simply creating something like your email address, phone number, whatever I want to use. So I guess I have to use the Rajiv's account. So again, for that, I need to go on to the my default directory here, Entra ID. Now I have to make a habit to call it the Microsoft Entra ID. I will go in here. I will go to the user section, and in the user section, I will select Rajiv over here, and Rajiv. I will copy the username of Rajiv over here. I will come back and I will simply do in here, go to this place, enter the password. Now I have to search for the password, to be honest. I know in some of the document I have surely kept it somewhere. Hopefully this is the one. Now, if you will see, it is telling me that an action is required. So what I will do, I will say that, okay, let's just go ahead and follow the prompts onto the Microsoft Authenticator app. So if you want to go ahead and set up your multi-factor authentication for the Microsoft Authenticator app, you can use it. But for now, I don't want. Okay, all the people who are working in the environment, you must be using some authenticator app, RSA token itself, right? So whenever you are logging in, after that you are just entering those pins that is generated into your authenticator app as well. So even that is one thing. Second thing is the push notification, that while you are logging in, you have been shown a number and then you are pressing that number onto your authenticator app. Different methodologies are there. If you don't want to use the authenticator app, you want to use a different method, so you can use that as well. As you can change as well, use a different account or methodology over there. I'm happy with that. So next I will be going there. Okay, I'm happy with the action required. Okay, now in here, start by getting the app, and here I want to use a different authenticator app. Maybe I want to use Google authenticator app. Then you can go and select that as well. It's just up to you that which one you want to use. So let me grab my one of mobile phones, and where I'm going to have the authenticator app. Okay, and I'm gonna do what, I'm just removing some account because I'm having too many accounts over here. Okay, uh, uh, remove these other accounts over here. Okay, now set up an authenticator app. Happy with that. Next, now it is asking me to scan the QR code. So in the authenticator app, I will have a plus sign, and I will click on that plus sign, and it will ask me that which kind of account it is. I would say it is a work or a school account. I will select it. I will scan the QR code and it is asking permission of my camera app. So I will give that permission. I have scanned the code and now it is added. Okay. Now what I will do, I will click on the next over here that I have scanned this code. Okay. Next thing, let's try it out. So it popped up a request and it is asking that what is the number that is shown onto your screen. I will say 23 and yes, it was me. And once I approve it from my phone, you can see it is approved onto the your screen as well. So Microsoft Authenticator app is done, success, and now I will click on done over here. And now what is happening? Now I am trying to log in. Once I select my method, now I'm trying to log in for the first time, and it's saying that on your mobile phone, I have to enter the number 88. Yes, I am selecting it. And it is asking me, do you want to stay signed in? I will say yes. And now, okay, it is taking me to some place like the my sign in section. So where I have selected the different passwords over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to again use the something like portal.azure.com. And here, I think I goes into the demo logs. No need for that. That is very specific to work with the KQL queries, some demo logs, which I use. Now I am on the part of the my portal itself. Now, the difference that you will be seeing that is going to be on the part of your, I will take you to the main admin account now. From this is the Rajiv's account where I am right now. Now I will take you to the your account of admin. I will take you to the page where I was doing all these settings and the functions. So if I will refresh it, like if I will go to the server setting first, come back to the user settings. So you will see from enable, now it become enforced, right? So this is the one of the method that you can use and it become available to me once I start doing all these things. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the something like disable the multi-factor authentication. I disable it and I'm going to close it as well. Why I disable it? Because I know most probably from the next week I will be having one of my Azure sessions started. So there again, I will be requiring these account. Maybe I delete it. I'm not guaranteed, but I'm just keeping it for the safer side that I can utilize these things again and again, and I am happy with that. So this was a bit of the idea to enable the your multi-factor authentication over here, right? So with the users, we have gone ahead and we have enabled the multi-factor authentication at this particular part. Now this was the all the features of your authentications. We talked about how to create a user, the group, the multi-factor authentication. Now, one very interesting thing is now you have been given what? You have the permission to go ahead and to work around with the your we have created an account for you. You come to the organization now. You must need to be given some kind of the permission to work in the organization. Now in the organization there will be a lot of resources, so we haven't seen anything like how we will be going ahead and creating the any resource. Okay, so don't worry, tomorrow very first thing that we will be doing is gonna go ahead and we are going to create a resource. Like we can create an Azure resource and then there we can see something like your after seeing the Azure resources, we can create a virtual machine. Why I'm creating that? Because with that there is going to be something in the security for the network called network security group. I can show you how to create some rules and all with that network security group. We will start with that and start doing some of the things more onto the Azure rule and rule assignment we'll be seeing tomorrow. But today in simple plain language we will try to explore Azure RBAC as well. Okay, how to give the permission to the resource, what are the principle and all, we will try to understand them as well. Now when we are talking about the users, we have created these users like Gautam, Nivedita, and Rajiv, who is already the part of your Active Directory, which is now Entra Active. Okay. Now these are the people who is a part of who are the part of your Entra ID now. Now these users, for example, okay, if I will take you to the portal of the Rajiv, Rajiv is not going to be able to go ahead and create a new user. Okay, obviously right now, if I will select something like this, and from the Rajiv's account, if I will try to go ahead, go to the enter ID, this is Rajiv's account. Okay, go to the user, and if I will try to create a user, you will see there is no option of for me to create a new user, although I have an option to invite some external user. If I want to change my setting from my admin account, I can disable this option as well. But right now, if you will see, my Rajiv cannot go ahead and create a new user. Why? He doesn't have the permission. Okay. So Rajiv has the account but does not have the permission to create users. Simply, same thing will happen with the resources as well. That if there is going to be a virtual machine, it will be part of a resource that is going to be in there. So how to create a resource? Few things goes into the creating that resource, and that thing will take a bit of a time. So I'm not explaining it right now. Tomorrow's session, very first thing, we are going to do the same, how to create a resource and all for all the user who are not familiar with the Azure. Now, what I will do, I will minimize this Rajiv's account, going back into the main portal. Now, what Microsoft has done, one thing they have done very beautifully is creating a hierarchical, hierarchical model over here. So what is happening with that model is that if you are a user, you need to give a permission. One thing to group you can give, right? I can give permission to the user, to the group, all these things. And then there is the identity. I created the identity for my user right now. Now, what happened is not only the users are involved. Why I'm talking about this is because we are going to go ahead and we are going to discuss about the Azure RBAC, Azure role-based access control. That is going to be the part over here. So when we are talking about this, this is going to be the one of the thing that we are looking for. This is going to be our Azure RBAC. Now, in the Azure RBAC, based on your rules, you need to give the permission to your different user over there. Now, when we will be talking about these user, if I would say very official definition of your uh, Azure RBAC, so Azure RBAC is an authorization system which is built on ARM, which is Azure Resource Manager, which is going to provide you the fine-grained access management of Azure resources. So Azure RBAC is going to help you who can access your Azure resource, what they can do with those resources, and what area they have access to. Means, for example, if there is a virtual machine, who can go ahead turn on that virtual machine? Who can go on and turn off that virtual machine? Not only resource, but also the account as well. That means who can create a new user, who can delete a user, who can give the permission. All these things are based on your Azure's role-based access control. So what I can, what can you do with the RBAC is you can go ahead, you can manage, if I will give someone the permission that you are the part of the your you are the virtual machine contributor, you can go ahead and you can simply turn on or turn off that particular virtual machine that is going to be over there. Okay, you can create the user. If I give you the permission on the network level, you can create more subnet over there. So when we talk about the particular resources over here, this is how that Microsoft is helping you to manage it. Now when I was saying hierarchical model and all, so remember those people who have done completed the Azure 900 fundamental course. Okay, so you will be familiar with this something like management group subscription, which I was showing you earlier, resource group and resources. Okay, now for the people, if someone is very keen on or interested in reading about the AZ 900 over here, so what is going to happen is what we will do in the occasion of the new year, we will be launching a free YouTube course onto the Azure 900 fundamental, where I will try to put more and more of the hands-on practicals as well for your Azure 900. For all those people who are eager to learn Azure 900 fundamentals, they can learn from there. Now, when I will talk about this hierarchical model, so remember I was telling you that in the very beginning when I was giving the example of the Netflix. Okay, so what was the purpose behind it is, for a simple example, there is a resource which is like your virtual machine. So one thing that is mandatory in Azure is if you're creating a resource, it must be a part of your resource group. So what happen is if I'm creating a virtual machine, it will be belonging to a resource group. Now, remember when we were creating a resource, what I was selecting that against which subscription you are gonna go ahead and going to deploy it or charge it. So if I'm creating a resource, it will be belonging to a resource group, which will be belonging to a subscription. Now, that subscription that you are having, so one organization can have more than one subscription. Let's say one for the IT team, one for the production, one for the DevOps, one for the HR, different thing. So if you have more than one subscription, so how we will manage that many subscription? So one or more subscription, if you have to handle, there is some one more feature which is called management group, which can have one or more subscription inside it. So you can have this kind of a hierarchical model over here. Now, what is the benefit of that? For example, in resource group, there were 20 resource like virtual machine, public IP, NSG, disk, everything. Now, I want to give Gautam the access of all these resources. So instead of individually going to one resource and give permission one by one, I can go ahead and give the permission at the resource group level that, okay, you can control this resource group level. And in this resource group, if there was 20 resources, all of them now you can control. Simple as that. Now, same thing, there could be more than one resource group. So what is happening now? To handle those more resource groups, they all might be belonging to the same subscription. Now, instead of the giving the permission on the resource group level, if I want to give someone the level to handle manage all the resource groups, so I can give the permission at the subscription level. If not in here, I can give it on the top management level as well. So when we'll be creating one particular virtual machine tomorrow, this concept will become more and more clear over here. So right now, just to give you the idea, we can say that this is kind of a hierarchical model that you are having over there. Now, different roles will be given. Like for example, they are talking about the reader role. So if someone got the reader role only, so what it will be getting? It will be getting your, they can go ahead and read thing only. So if there is a virtual machine which is running right now, and that reader user want to go ahead and stop that virtual machine, you cannot go ahead and stop that particular virtual machine because you can only observe it. Okay, then you have been given some rule like the contributor, if I would say. Okay, you can create some custom rules as well, and there are some resource specific rule as well. Like for virtual machine, there will be a rule like virtual machine contributor, which will be specifically applied onto the virtual machine. That's it, nothing else. Or you can create your own custom rules as well. If you know how to write a JSON, you can write your own codes, or rules as well. Then contributor is like if machine was running, you can go ahead and stop that virtual machine. That kind of a thing you can do, but you cannot give someone else the access. Like if I'm a contributor and I think that, okay, I will give this machine's permission to your Nivedita as well. Okay, Gautam think that I have the contributor role, I will give the permission to the Nivedita. No, you cannot, because contributor will be having its own limit. Now owner is just like owner of any property, you can do whatever you want with the your resource. So if there is a virtual machine, if you want to do anything with that, you are allowed to do that thing, right? Now, when we are applying these resources, there is one thing that I want to discuss, that roles will be given to whom? To the your some service security principles that Microsoft is defining them as the security principle. Now, we have created an identity for the user. If I want to assign a role, I can assign it to a user. I can assign it to a group. Now, to a service principal and manage identity. Now, what are these things? Now, service principal is what? So, if I want to create or give the permission, so people who are already working in the IEM, you guys will be familiar that we are not only giving the permission to user only. There is an application. We create an identity for the application. We create identity for the devices as well. Okay, so all of those will be known as the your service principles. Okay, now some of the identity managed identity are what? For example, when I want to deploy a policy, and that there is a policy that you need to install anti-malware extension to Windows virtual machine. Now I created that policy. Now, if some device is not following that policy, what I'm saying, I will force or I will create a process, automated process that go there and install that anti-malware into that machine. Now, if that anti-malware is going to be installed and that machine, so that means automation is happening. If automation is happening, if there is an attacker, he create an automation, he run that automation, that machine can also go ahead and anyone can go and make a change onto that machine. So that's why we create something like, and we will be creating a managed identity, that to that policy I will give an identity which will be managed by your Azure, okay, from the cloud service provider. So we'll create an identity and we will give that permission like a contributor, that you can go and make changes onto my virtual machine, and then that policy can go ahead and install that anti-malware extension onto the particular physical machine. So security principle will be to whom you are assigning a role. It could be a user, a group, a service principal, or a managed identity as well. So those roles are going to be assigned to a particular user. Now, there is going to be the second thing in the RBAC is the definition, like here, owner, contributor. And if you will see in this screenshot that I have put over here, these things will be very specific, like action, what is allowed to do. So contributor is not action, what it is not allowed to do, delete function or write function on the authorization, means cannot give anyone or revoke anyone's access, cannot give anyone the access to write over there, cannot elevate the access of any user. So you will be defining with a bit of a JSON that what a user will be doing. You are giving a role definition over here, that what they are going to be over there. Yes, managed identity will be those which will be provided by the Microsoft and managed by the Microsoft itself. Those will be your managed identity. Okay, now this is the one thing. Second, the roles will be given to service principal. You'll be having the roles definitions over there. And then third thing is going to be the role assignment. So you'll be assigning now role. So you have the definition, you have the principle here. You can see in this diagram, you have the role security principle, definition, and now you will assign the role to whom after selecting a scope. Okay, now next slide will be talking about the your scope. So what is going to be scope? Scope is like I was telling you, there will be a management group. It can have more than one subscription. Now one subscription can have multiple resource group, and there is going to be like one web application, one of the your database. Here you have one virtual machine, VNet, logging services, all these things, right? Now, at the individual level, only to the machine, I can give someone the permission. So at that time, this will be my scope. If my scope is a resource group, that means it is automatically covering all the resources inside it. If my scope is a subscription, that means all the resources inside the subscription are covered. And if my scope is a whole management group, so all the subscription, all the resource inside it will be covered. So you need to define something like your scope, that we are giving what? We are giving the permission. We are assigning a role to a security principle, defining the role and assigning it to a scope that it will be allowed for a whole virtual machine or to particular no resources over there. So this is going to be the your hierarchical model that is followed by the Microsoft into the RBAC over here. So you have defined the scope as well in the end. And don't worry, these things we will be seeing more hands-on, more practically in tomorrow when we will be creating up one particular virtual machine and then playing around with it. Okay, so don't worry about it. So this is the one of the thing, and one thing that I'm not touching right now, because when I'll be showing you this thing practically, then we'll be talking about something like the RBAC best practices, to whom you need to give the like what should be a minimal access, limiting the owner's access, unique rule, what are the some best practices, then only we'll be talking about it. And this is a bit for today's session, guys.